20th Board of Education meeting. Roll call.
Dr. Cordellino,
Here.
Mrs. Fano,
Here.
Dr. Modrak, Mr. Palma,
Here.
Mr. Petrosino,
Here.
Mr. Rappaport,
Here.
Mrs. Smith,
Here.
Mrs. Zuckerman,
Here.
Mr. Daughtry,
Here.
Mrs. Ammer,
Here.
Mr. Blumenthal is not here.
If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open public meeting notice.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provision of the Act, the Montville Township Board of Education provided a public notice of this meeting, which included the time, date, and location that was posted at the Montville Township Municipal Building, all Montville Public Schools, the Montville Public Library, the Montville Township Board of Education Administrative Office Building, the district website, and advertised in the Daily Record and the Montville Tap Into, the board's official newspapers, on January 8th, 2026.
Thank you. High school student representative report.
Classes return in past times. Classes returned from winter break on January 5th, 2026. The pep rally was rescheduled for January 9th. The events of the day included faculty versus student basketball game, where teachers face off against students in a friendly but competitive basketball matchup. A wig-taking event, musical chairs, and a box stacking competition. Each school, the National Federation of State High School Associations, NFHS, and the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association, the NJSIAA, emphasize the importance of sportsmanship as a key aspect in the development of our sports participants and in the conduct of our competitive events. The Northwest Chapter 1 Field Hockey Official Association instituted an Outstanding Sportsmanship Award to recognize coaches whose actions throughout the field hockey season exemplified the highest standard of sportsmanship. They have taken the NFHS and the NJSIA directives to heart and have incorporated the ideals of good sportsmanship into their coaching styles. The recipient of the Outstanding Sportsmanship Award in Morris County is the coach of Montville Field Hockey, Amy Vizuzzo. The tenor of the MTHS choir, Alex Turnock, has won the 2026 NJMEA Chorus NJ Governor's Award. Mr. Turnoff was nominated for this prestigious honor after being ranked number 2 tenor, second in the state last year. Following his nomination, he completed a rigorous application and auditioned process to be considered for the award. The Science Olympiad team placed 8th in the recent regional competition of the NJIT this week. A special congratulations go out to our first place winners, Mike Jung and Sahej Sin, for their build events. Last Thursday, January 15th, student of the International Business Practice Firm Honors class went to Fairfield Dickinson University and presented their made-up companies that they have been spending the year building. They presented the business to plans. The judges, both classes, companies, Temp Step, and HydroSync, received awards for their hard work thus far in the class. In sports, boys basketball has a current record of 9-1 as they defeated Morris Knowles Thursday night. Senior guard Chris Ferrari reached 1,000 points, a milestone in the win. Girls basketball is currently 4-10 with a game on Wednesday against Mountain Lakes. Boys ice hockey is currently 5-8 with a game on Wednesday against Bernard's Wrestling. Wrestling is currently 13-1 with wins against Clifton and Randolph over the weekend. Tonight, they are playing Morris Hills. Boys bowling have a game today versus Morris Hills as they are 11-2. Boys swimming is 0-6 with a meet today against Morristown, and girls swim is 3-3 with a meet this Thursday versus St. Elizabeth. In present and future times, midterms will be held this week for select classes from Wednesday, January 21st to Monday, January 26th. These school days run from 7:25 to 11:55, and each day will only be made up of 2 classes. 1 and 5 on Wednesday, periods 2 and 6 on Thursday, and so on and so forth. Makeup for midterms will take place on the 27th and 28th if needed. The school yearbook is currently on sale from now until January 23rd. The price is $125. Starting on January 24th, the price will increase to $140. On January 27th, the second semester will begin the day after. There will be a Share the Keys event on February 2nd in the auditorium at 7 to 8:30. On Wednesday, February 4th, MTHS will be hosting their annual 8th grade orientation. Student ambassadors of Student Council, PAL, and SAC, and more will act as tour guides to the 8th graders as they will be able to get their first glimpse into high school life and the rich and varied programs that MTHS offers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Gorman, your report?
Yes, great job, Jenna. I really appreciate that. A lot of great accomplishments by our students as well as our staff. And how else can we get so many people out on such a cold evening? But this is one of the best evenings of the year. We're going to be celebrating all these educators that, the wonderful things they do throughout the year. It's so wonderful to see friends, colleagues, peers, family members come out and support us. So we're going to start right off and go right into Cedar Hill. Mr. Raj, Dr. Raj.
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
Is that on first? Give it a sec.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. I'd like to introduce, first of all, our Teacher of the Year, Ms. Claire Choi, who's a kindergarten teacher at Cedar Hill School. And our And our educational specialist, Pat Chesney, who is our physical therapist. Congratulations, ladies.
Typed up. Okay. All right. Woodmont's usually the end. Cleanup. New year, new. Okay. For your scissors. You're throwing me for. All right. You're throwing me for a curveball, Dr. Gorman. That's all right. I can survive. Adapt, adjust. Isn't that the stuff you're trying to teach us in these admin council meetings with this Jocko Willick or whoever he is? Anyway, so Woodmont's very proud to announce our Teacher of the Year, Ms. Andrea Mitsilides. Andrea is one of 2 full-time ESL teachers at Woodmont. In the case of many of our students, not only when they come to Woodmont do they move from a new town, they're actually moving from a new country. And often they're blessed to have Andrea as their first teacher. And I can't think of a better experience than to work with Andrea. Her sensitivity for her students, her understanding of what it's like to be a foreign student in a new country, learning new customs, she's very sensitive to that as she not only teaches them the English language, but the customs of our country. And she really does an amazing job integrating our students into the Woodmont community, into the larger community. So again, kudos to Andrea. I think you're 13 years now? 14 years in our building. And our educational specialist of the year is paraprofessional Danielle Antunes. Daniela. Daniela joined us in COVID. It was quite the show. She just showed up one day in November saying, I'm here. And I said, oh, great. No one told me, but welcome aboard. Welcome to Woodmont. But she quickly integrated herself into our community. She's well known for her enthusiasm, for energy, her creativity. She's a driving force behind many of the videos you see in our building, especially our end of the year lip dub. And Danielle is the one who comes up with the plan, the map, the special effects. So if you enjoy those, it's a large part due to Daniela's creativity. So again, we congratulate both of them for a job well done. And to the Woodmont staff, we missed the cowbell, so we got to get that cowboy back.
Tonight we have Mrs. Jenna Amadeo, our Teacher of the Year. Yep. Mrs. Amadeo started, she was a second grade teacher for many years and then brought her love of science to fourth grade, and along with her class pets and all her hands-on activities. Our students are lucky to have her. She brings and instills her love of science to them, which we all know we need these days. So thank you for your calm and steady force in fourth grade science. So thank you, Ms. Amadeo. And our educational specialist, Mrs. Virginia Grabinski, Ginny as we call her. Ginny is a paraprofessional at Hilldale and has been there as long as I have. And every day she walks in with a smile. Besides her compassion, her love for her students, she walks in with a smile every single day, no matter what's happening. No matter what's happening at home, in school, she has a smile on her face. And that says so much to her students, so much to us as a staff. We are so lucky to have you. So thank you both.
Is she Mrs. Amadeo's daughter? Yes.
Valley View.
Congratulations. You're good. You hear me? Okay. Congratulations to all the winners tonight, Teachers of the Year and Educational Specialists. I want to congratulate Gabrielle Caprio, who is a 26-year veteran in the Montville Township Schools at Valley View. Gabby is an excellent paraprofessional. She works her magic. We call her the miracle worker. Working and nurturing with the most challenging students in our school, little children who need a lot of guidance, and under her tutelage they gain confidence and develop coping skills and build skills and knowledge. She also bolsters them in small groups, supplemental instruction, and something that some people may not know, our Valley View and all our district paraprofessionals are highly trained. Ms. Caprio has been trained in safety care, play-based learning, supportive and inclusive environments, and in best practices to eliminate stereotypes. Ms. Caprio collaborates with the Child Study Team, or BCBA, and related services to ensure that the information provided will inform instruction and make these kids well served. She's dedicated to our students and our teachers, and she puts them on their journey, and we're so proud to call her our colleague and friend. Thank you, Gabby. Mrs. Jessica Becker, a former soccer star at Montclair State University. She teaches our younger students and has been 18 years at Valley View. Few less than me, but when she came, we were so excited to have her come to the staff. She nurtures our youngest children. She greets them with patience and warmth and high expectations every day. She structures their academics with creativity and imagination. She makes learning fun and builds their curiosity. She communicates exceedingly well with parents over the years who depend on her for information about their children and their growth. Ms. Becker is also an integral part of our school community. Most importantly, she works and she got a certificate in behavior threat assessment, and she's on our team. So her interest is not only in the classroom, but in the whole school community, making our environment safe and nurturing. Colleagues seek her out as a resource. She's a mentor to new teachers and a team player at grade level meetings. She has the qualities of an outstanding educator. She builds a strong academic foundation and builds confidence, kindness, and develops a joy for learning. Miss Becker, your dream come true. God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Gorman. Congratulations once again to all of our award winners. William Mason School is very excited to announce Mr. Lishkevich as our Teacher of the Year. Mr. L has been at William Mason. Thank you, Doc. Mr. L, as he's affectionately known, has been at William Mason for 11 years, 5 as a paraprofessional and 6 as a teacher. And I was reminded, actually, on the way here tonight, Mr. L came to us 11 years ago for a student that came to the United States to receive several surgeries. And that student's name was Boris. And we put an advertisement online, and I'm sure in the papers. And the student was from Russia. And the only applicant we had was a Russian man named Boris. And so Mr. L came to us 11 years ago to serve as a paraprofessional for our student Boris, and he's been with us ever since, and he's just been an outstanding member of our faculty, and I guess it was fate that brought you to William Mason, so thank you for everything you do. Our educational services professional is Mrs. George. Mrs. George is a former parent of ours, and she's been at William Mason for 11 years now. And she's trembling because she thinks she has to speak. Mrs. George is our speech teacher, and she is one of the most thoughtful, enthusiastic individuals I've ever had the privilege of working with. And Mrs. George also serves as our resident comedian. Every Wednesday, she does a joke on the loudspeaker. We call it Wacky Wednesday. And it's a way for her to connect with her students and help them to feel more comfortable speaking in public. So we appreciate you, Mrs. George. We appreciate your jokes, and thank you for everything you do.
So, first, congratulations, everyone. We are here to recognize our Teacher of the Year, Miss Eileen Linares. And our Educator of the Year, Miss Adriana Salerno. So, as evident by the overwhelming support of the Lazar staff, I'm going to read some brief things about each of them, but what I'm going to read doesn't really measure everything they bring to our school, specifically the energy and enthusiasm and trying to bring everybody together, both students and staff. We'll start with Ms. Linares. She's been in our building for 11 years. Those of you who are parents in the audience who pull up in the morning, she's one of the people outside greeting the students, not typically, but sometimes wearing ridiculous costumes. She also makes the Lazar Happenings video montage that should go out to everybody, but also goes out to the community. She creates fun videos to boost staff morale, including Cartwheel Wednesdays. which I took some flack for. She's a yearbook advisor, SOS advisor. She chaperones everything possible. She's also brought the Cupid Project to our building. And I can go on and on and on and on. And none of it would really match what she actually brings to our building, and that's Miss Eileen Linares. And the same can be said for Miss Salerno. She's in her 3rd year at Lazar. She works in our counseling department. She oversees our Spanish speakers group, an organization group. She helped with the collection of fidget spinners for the Gorib Children's Hospital. This year in particular, Miss Salerno has a very difficult caseload. In fact, just this afternoon, we were with the police numerous times. She handles every one of those situations extraordinarily well, well beyond her years of only being in this position for 3 years. And like Ms. Linares, she brings a tremendous amount of value to our building in the things she does on a daily basis. And like one of the other people mentioned before, both of these individuals come to work every day with a smile. So we are very grateful for the two of them. That's Ms. Linares and Ms. Salerno.
Good evening, everyone. Doug Sanford couldn't be with us tonight, so I have the honor of introducing 3 folks from the high school. The first person I'd like to introduce is Rob Natural. I've had the pleasure of working with him for 13 years, but he's been with the district for 18. He primarily works within the science department as a special ed teacher. He started his educational career in 2003 at Hamilton Middle School in Elizabeth. He holds an elementary school teacher cert, teacher of the handicap, and school counseling. One of his biggest accolades is the Lounge, which he formed 10 years ago. Rob Natural. The second person I'd like to introduce is the Princeton University Distinguished Secondary School teacher, Miss Kim Dolce. She's a special education teacher who manages a diverse range of students from the LLD to the ACES classes. She's been with Montville for more than 25 years, beginning in 2001. She graduated from William Patterson with a bachelor's degree in special education and counseling, and has a master's as a reading specialist. She began her career teaching in Lazar and then joined the high school in 21. Kim. And finally, the Educational Service Professional of the Year, Miss Amanda Para. Miss Para is a speech pathologist at the high school. She's been with Montville for 11 years, began her career in 2015 with us. She started in 2008 at Woodland Park Schools. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science and Master's in Arts, Speech, and Language Pathology. Miss Amanda Para.
We're going to ask for all the recipients to come on up here with their certificates. We're going to do one large picture, please. Here or here? Probably here. We're going to put you in front of the board, please. We get 2 lines.
I'm not figuring I'm getting exactly
Positioning people perfectly. Where's Ms. Marinello?
Yeah, you're right.
Stay there. We got a lot of audience pictures.
Good thing
Squeeze into any picture when you're that tall.
From this to the auditor's report, watch everybody run for the door. Oh, yeah, like a 5. You don't even, just indicate.
At this point, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Joe, you should have announced that if you're here, you have to stay for the whole meeting.
Right, I know. I was a little surprised as well. Well, you know, we were trying to keep you on your toes. The naturals.
Oh, that's right. His daughter won something last year.
She gave a presentation.
She gave a presentation.
What was Mrs. Amadeo's name? Janice? Who? Janice Amadeo? Was her mom? Is her mom?
I can't remember.
She goes back to like when Vanessa was alive.
I think she was finishing up her career, but I had both of them were here at the same time. Yeah, I can't remember.
I think it was Janice. I know she taught gifted and do we still do gifted and talented?
Yeah, but it's integrated within that.
It's different.
But I think that's what her mom taught. I want to see the flowers. Had the class.
I always forget them and the work. Yeah. Corinne. Okay. Work, and then what was her mom's name?
Fran. I was just talking to Fran. She left in my mailbox an envelope with a CD from when Alex dressed up in colonial clothes for the 4th grade, and he had 2 costume changes and dancing at the end. She sent me that whole video, and then she sent me a whole bunch of pictures. It was so sweet of her. She said I figured she was cleaning things out, and she didn't want to throw them away.
Yeah, now Lauren is at, Lauren Gray.
Oh, okay.
At Lazard.
She looks just like her mom. How about Giselle and her niece?
Drive safe.
Niece Maureen. Maureen at Cedar Hill does the veterans program.
Oh, yeah. No, I can see your face, and I can't remember.
Clancy. It's Maureen Clancy.
Question. Middle school mathematics. I just found out that there is honors, then gifted and talented, then regular. That's it.
Oh, the gifted and talented that you're talking about is for those kids who accelerated. So they're an entire year ahead of everybody else. So they're doing 6th grade math in their 5th grade classroom with Danielle Barkey doing the online.
Because the way Ms. McLaughlin explained to me, I thought like my kids are in 5th grade. Next year they'll either get placed in, probably not be in honors, even though I'd love them to be, but honors. And then I thought gifted and talented was like a middle ground,
So no,
and then
gifted
regular.
and talented is a completely different course. So if they did 6th grade math as 5th grade students, when they get up to Lazard, they will be placed in algebra as 7th grade.
So they'll be with 7th grade.
I don't know where he went. He went that way. I don't know where he went.
Got it. So gifted and talented is only for people in 5th grade that are doing 6th grade.
So when you get to the math part, yes, it's the gifted and talented.
How are you? Good. I'll give you a hug,
And
but
still be doing.
flowers,
It depends on what you're gifted and talented for. If
your thing was really ELA and that's where you're there, and then just be in like upper level math. If you're a G&T math kid, then we have grade acceleration. So they're doing a completely different curriculum. So when they get to 8th grade, they'll be doing geometry.
So there's really just two levels then for most kids, honors and regular. And gifted and talented you would have had to start in 5th grade for the year before.
Well, actually, like 2nd grade.
Second.
It only makes
Okay.
So gifted and talented.
We're going to resume the board meeting, please.
I guess is the. Okay, so that was. It makes more sense to me. That's
All right.
Why would you call it something in the middle? Who's got first?
Yes.
Is that William Mason who should remain nameless? There's only like 3.
Okay, so
Using a better grading system in
Want me to bang the gavel?
grades so that they're prepared more for middle school.
all right, Rob, we're going to ask you to step to the podium, please, and grab the microphone.
Because that's what I brought up with, but
You just put that on the chair. Thanks. There. I think it should still be on. So just to continue with all the good news, we have Rob Haig here, our auditor, who will be talking to us about the wonderful world of accounting from last year's report. But the news does continue. So you heard it with athletics, you heard it with our educators, and now you hear it with our finances. Rob?
Thank you.
what a segue.
Thank you all for having me tonight.
You always come on the best night. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm telling-
it's good stuff.
Everyone couldn't wait for the audit, right? Thank you for having me. So just here to give you a brief summary of the recently filed 24-25 audit. So this covers your July 1, 24 through June 30, 25 fiscal year. The report was due to the state January 15, so we filed it a month back or so before the holidays. What you get from us and what we file with the state are 2 reports. One is your annual comprehensive financial report. That's the bigger report. Has all of your financial statements, your note disclosures, our audit opinions are in there. Then you get a smaller report, which is the auditor management report, which discusses the results of the audit with any corrective action, recommendations with corrective action. I could say that in the 2 reports, both completely positive this year. In the annual comprehensive report, in our 3 opinions, you got what we call unmodified opinions. That's the highest level of assurance we can give. So you get 1 opinion on your financial statements in general to make sure they're materially accurate in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. There's a second opinion called government auditing standards. That's required of any governmental entity. It's more of a internal control opinion on your procedures and your processes, less than so much the numbers on the other opinion. Then the third one is what we call the single audit opinion. That's to make sure you're compliant with all of your state and federal grant regulations. So as you receive state and federal grant money, we have to make sure for certain programs you're compliant with all the requirements. So in all 3 instances, you receive an unmodified opinion, basically the highest level of assurance we can give in those opinions. You start at that unmodified level. If anything necessitates us to reduce that level of assurance, we would do that. That didn't happen here, so you have all 3 unmodified opinions. From a financial standpoint, just talk about the numbers a little bit. Very similar to where you ended the year last year in what we call fund balance. So as you collect all your revenues and you spend your budget, you really end with what they call fund balance. Very similar number to last year. Was down around $500,000 in total. But that's normal as you see fluctuations as you use some of your fund balance during the year for capital projects, for maintenance projects, to fund your budget. So the way the year ended, most of the money, not most of it, but some of the money is in what we call a capital reserve, about $7 million in a capital reserve fund. That could be used any time during the year by board resolution to do any projects that are in your long-range facilities plan, or it could also be used in your budget to do those same type of projects. So that money's sitting in a separate account, separate and aside from your what they call surplus funds. You also have a maintenance reserve fund, about $2 million set aside. That's similar to capital reserve, can be withdrawn by board resolution to be used for maintenance of your existing facilities. So very same structure as capital. The only difference is capital is used for more long-term improvements to your facilities, and maintenance is just updating your existing facilities. So maintenance versus capital. Then you were really left with around $3 million, a little over $3 million in surplus funds. So that's really, when all is said and done, when you, like I said, you collect your revenues, you spend your budget, you have your monies in reserve, you're left with this $3 million, which then that would be available moving forward into the next budget. You do have around $2.7 million set aside for the current year budget. So that $3 million is kind of after your current budget, 25, 26. You still have that $3 million that's going to carry forward from the previous year. The $2.7 million that you have appropriated for this year, that is a little bit higher than you had in the previous years. We're kind of seeing that all over the place. It really just means you're using a little bit more of your surplus to balance the budget, but you are replenishing it every year, so it's not so much of a concern. But you are, you're not replenishing the full amount that you're taking out every year. So it's kind of just a good rule of thumb to watch that surplus every year. You don't want to see any big spikes or big decreases. So you're fairly level. You're using a little bit more than you had last year, but then, like I said, you still have that $3 million available for the current year budget. So as you start putting your current year budget together, just important to look at how much of that surplus you're using versus how much you're keeping for future years. In the management report, very happy to report you have no audit recommendations that require corrective action. So we do find some stuff as we progress through the audit, but anything we found, we went through with administration. We either cleaned it up, the issue was cleared, or they were, just minimal issues that didn't really rise to the level of an audit recommendation. We did have one, what we call, not so much a finding, but a comment in there. Doesn't necessarily require corrective action, but it really relates to your unemployment fund. You do have an outstanding balance due to the state for unemployment bills, unemployment claims. There is some dispute on how much that money is, the amount that's due to the state, so there's some discrepancy, I shouldn't say discrepancy, dispute between how much the district believes they owe versus how much the state is asking for. So there's no corrective action at this point because there has been some efforts between the district and the state to get it cleared up, but sometimes dealing with the state takes a little bit longer than it should. So we just want to see, hopefully, as the process continues, that corrective action would be taken to necessitate any future audit problems. But as you have the outstanding bill year after year, the longer it goes, the less comfort you have that it's going to be easy to resolve. So it gets a little harder to resolve year after year. But again, no corrective action at this point on it. Just a note in the audit that we had that money is still out there. The good news is the money is set aside to pay those bills. So whatever amount does ultimately become due to the state, there's certainly money set aside outside of your budget that's basically sitting there, waiting to be paid. It's just a matter of resolving it with the state on how much is owed. But other than that, very positive on both fronts. Financial, very positive, and on the audit opinion, to have a district of your size with no audit recommendations, that's very positive. And I think kudos to the business office, and I thank the administration for their help throughout the audit. We're pain in their neck for a couple of months around here, but always get the responses we need. So I thank for that. I'd be happy to take any questions on our audit.
Rob, how often do you see unmodified?
Unmodified is fairly common. I think what's more uncommon is to see the no audit recommendations. Because the unmodified basically means that we didn't, there's really only 4 levels of opinions we can give. One is unmodified, one is modified, which means that there were some issues that made us reduce that level of assurance. Then you have what we call a disclaimer of opinion, which means we couldn't even give an opinion. And then you have an adverse opinion, which is the absolute negative opinion. So every once in a while you see a modified, but an unmodified is pretty common. But I think what is more uncommon, especially for a district size, to have those no audit recommendations. That basically means we went through all of our process for the audit, and nothing really came to fruition that rose to the level of what we would require corrective action for.
Thank you.
So that's the positive end.
Not for you, Rob, but for our business office, just a huge congratulations on your competency and ability to manage the finances of our district, which are substantial. The level of integrity and ethics has to be noted, and just thank you from a taxpayer.
Rob, if I could be wrong on this, but is this our second or third year in a row with no recommendations?
Definitely second. Last year there were none. Was it, well, Katina? So third year in a row with no audit count. Right, third year.
Not that I'm counting.
Right. So it will be the third year in a row. And I think from the last time I remember, I guess it was 4 years, there might have been one in there. So it's not like you've had an audit where there's, a slew of recommendations that you have to correct. So, Katine will tell you, we kind of go through everything, so every once in a while we'll come up with something that, we might have not looked at the last year because we can't look at everything every year, so something will pop up one year that, for whatever reason comes in there, but thankfully for the last 3 years, you haven't had that issue.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working with Katine. She keeps very tight books and does a tremendous job, and you can see that, and it proves out every single year, so thank you for that. But also Diane and Jamie and the whole business department doing a wonderful job that contributes to this whole thing. It's a collective effort. They're constantly working on this, and I should know because I'm constantly in their office bothering them every day. So, but it does come together, and it's something to definitely be proud of.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. Katine, you want to go into your report?
Just so that we kind of tie this up, you have this on as a resolution for approval and acceptance. So that is on the K section. We're going to transition from this report, which is a report of last year, 24-25, into a discussion about 26-27. So we're going to jump 2 years ahead and continue this conversation. Over the last few months, we have been having discussions about where we think we're going from a financial point of view in terms of the budget for 27-28 and beyond. As Rob mentioned, we have been maintaining our balances, our equity balances, fund balances over the last few years, but I do draw your attention to page 16 in the audit report, in the annual comprehensive audit report. What that page is a page, it's a summary of the governmental funds. So there are a number of different funds that we manage. Basically, think of it as buckets. Take all the transactions and we put them into buckets, and the bucket that I'm going to focus on right now is the general fund. The general fund is one of the funds that is approved through the budget process that we're beginning to enter. And on that page, if you go to about the middle of the page, there's a group of numbers called fund balance, and it lists a whole bunch of numbers. And as Rob had mentioned, you have about $7 million in your capital reserve and about $1 million in your maintenance reserve. But when you look at those numbers of 7 million, 4.7 million is being taken out this year with the projects that we did last summer out of your capital reserve, and 392,000 is being taken out of your maintenance reserve. So as a result, although that number sounds great, we just keep holding the same balance and we've got, $8 million to spend. You've already spent more than half of that just from the projects that we're currently in the process of doing. So that position, not this position, is really the position from which we're having these discussions regarding the budget. That when you look at where those numbers would be as of June of 26, 6 months from now, your balances would be significantly lower than where we left them at June 30th of 25 due to those projects. And so that transitions us into a discussion on resources and the resources that are available to the district as we begin to look towards building the 26-27 budget. And what you have before you, there should be a piece of paper that looks really pretty with different colors. This is a trend analysis of the revenues that you have had over the last 17 years. So we went back 17 years ago and we looked at all of the budgets that were put together over those 17 years, and we began to track them to see what kind of trend analysis existed in the revenue area. The top line, the budget line, the green line is your total budget. So that is the way the budget grew over that 17-year period. And that is the total amount spent. So what we're looking at is this is how much we spent. Where did we get the money to spend? So like most suburban districts, we got most of our money from taxes. That's pretty common in suburban districts. That total budget, the green line, increased over the course of those 17 years at about a little more than 3%, which, considering that during those 17 years, the administration and the boards during those times had to deal with double-digit increases in health benefits, double-digit increases in tuition costs, double-digit increases, especially during COVID, in transportation costs, plus managing a referendum in the middle of that and the ESIPs, and then relying completely on your reserves at the back end of that time frame to fund any kind of construction. The taxes, although increasing with the budgets, is increasing much slower. That's going up by about a little more than 2%. Keep in mind that the board during this period elected to go to cap, but it also at times used a bank cap if it was available to them. It also took waivers at times. So there were years when their 2% was a little bit more than 2%. But either way, the taxes are not growing at the same rate as the regular budget. So what happens is the space between the green and the blue is what we're constantly trying to close. And that is where the pink, the orange, and the red come in. So the pink, which is your state and federal aid, is listed there. And what's interesting with that particular number is that in 2009, 2010, you started at $3 million and basically went to zero. That was the year that the governor took all the money away. And if you look at that trend analysis, you don't get back to that $3 million point until you hit somewhere in the 25, 26, 20, the 2015, 16, 17 years is when you begin to make it up. So for that period of 5 or so years, you're running behind every single year until you start to catch up. And the place where you started to make that up is in you having to lower the green line in order to meet the revenues that you had. So that was artificially depressing that green line to try to keep it down because you only had so much state aid coming in. What you do notice is that state aid has been improving, particularly since 2022. And that is a very positive thing. That is tied to the students. The increase in students. State aid is based on an average of 5 years. So the more children we have that we're servicing, the more state aid that we're getting. Additionally, if we have children in particular groups, such as special ed or transportation, those students get additional monies. And so that also is affecting our state aid. What you do notice is since 2023, we kind of have hit a stable position. We don't really gain much. We don't really lose much. We just sort of stay. And if we had that number for 26, 27, I would call that a win. So that's what we're hoping for. The other number that you're watching is in the orange, and that is the amount that was in your reserves. So again, that's going to ebb and flow depending on what else is going on. What you notice in like 2017, 18, 19, you have a very flat usage of reserve money, and that makes sense. We would have been in the middle of doing the referendum and the ESIPs at that time. But as you start looking at 22, 23, 24, where now all that ESIP money and referendum money from 2017 has now been used, we have to rely on the reserves more and more and more. And when you look at the variance between the green and the blue line, particularly in 23, 24, 25, and it's spreading out, that's actually spreading out because you're putting more money into the budget from the reserves, creating those expenditures for construction. That's actually what's pulling those two numbers apart. When we begin looking at the reserves, now go back to the beginning of the conversation, how we spent down our $8 million because of the projects that we're doing. We don't have any reserve money to put towards projects. And so as a result, we're going to have to bring the green line down. We can't spend because we don't have anything to spend. And those projects now hang out there undone. And so one of the discussions that we really want to make sure we keep separating is that when we use the term question, we're going to go to the public with a question. There are two different types of questions we do that with. One is a budgetary question. It's closing this gap. It's when we can't get enough red pink and orange to close the variance between the green and the blue, we need to go out for a question. The reason what that does is that pushes the blue line up, because we ask the voters to take it upon themselves to add additional taxes in order for us to maintain the program that we have. That's one type of question. A different type of question is a referendum question that relates to construction and improvements to facilities. That's a different question. We're not talking about that question right now. We are only talking about discussions regarding the budgetary question, the ability to move the blue line up. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ESIP is an acronym. It stands for Energy Savings Improvement Program. They were opportunities that were we had available to us, and we took advantage of those in 2018 and 2019. We did it in 2 different phases. It is a opportunity to float a borrowing by using the savings we're gaining by making improvements to our buildings from an energy point of view, and those savings pay off the borrowing that we did. So what we had chosen to do was to put solar panels on almost all the schools. Hilldale's the only one that doesn't have any on it, and that was due to the type of roof it had as well as the coverage of the trees. We weren't going to get enough out of it. And the savings we reap from having those solar panels is enough to pay off the value of the solar panels, the roofing work we had done. We had a number of different things done as part of those 2 programs.
Could you just remind us then how much we need to keep in reserves? Because that affects our bond rating.
Right.
And so, while you say we're going to still have a few $1 million in reserves, it's not really the case, is it?
We would, if we do not replenish anything in terms of the reserves, we would be bordering very close to that line that we become very concerned about it affecting our bond rating. The story that I have told is this now goes back to 5-7 years. Renee and I received a phone call from Standard & Poor's. They come out to the district and indicate to us that our reserves are so low that we are in a position where our bond rating will be dropped if we were to go back out for another referendum. And so at that time, what we did is we intentionally began to build up the reserves in order to get them above that imaginary line, which was around the 5 million mark. And we brought them back up to where they had been previous, to about 11 million. 11 million is the highest it's been since I've been here. As I mentioned, we're at about 8 right now. So we can constantly are trying to push that up, but 5 is the number that we watch and we say we don't want to drop below. And if we don't replenish, we're going to be right about there.
People see in the news, Michelle, districts having holes in their budget, Hackensack, Montclair, other districts. How would you compare us to them?
Well, we don't have any holes in our budget.
Thank you.
All that being said, as we begin to look, so this is a presentation on resources. When we meet in February, we're going to be doing usages. And one of the concerns that I have is we still don't have a increased number on the health insurance from our brokers yet. As a result, that's a number that I'm concerned about. I am concerned about where does state aid come out. We've heard a lot of different perspectives on where that's going to land. So that's another number that I'm concerned about. And right now, as we're building the budget, we're trying to keep the green and the blue in a place where we can fill it and not have a section that's basically unfilled.
So, as a member of the community, so as a board member, but also as a member of the community and as a taxpayer, I appreciate this so much. And I know that you and Tom had shared that you're going to, at each meeting, give updates to different components of this. I find so many times we read, the numbers and you've been very clear in explaining it. I found this visual very, very helpful, and I think it's something that a lot of people who, regardless of their level of understanding of the nuances of the numbers, can understand this. And so I know the plan is to, there's not a huge amount of public here today, but the plan is to flush this information out at all these different levels with this, because it's clear, and this is not the first time we're hearing it, that decisions are going to have to be made. You've done such a good job keeping us in the position that we're in, but we're at a precipice here, if you will, and we're going to have to make different types of decisions. And this type of information and education is very much appreciated and very important on all different levels. So thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, Katine. We're moving on now to Section G, Organization Resolutions. This is regarding the board committees.
Just so that everybody's clear on what you're voting on. Oh, I'm sorry. Just so everybody's clear on what you're voting on the existence of these committees, and you're voting on the delegate to the New Jersey School Boards Association. All other committee appointments are the prerogative of the president, although this year, as in the past, people did get to offer up what they thought they would like to be on.
Thank you, Steve. If I could I get a roll call?
Could I get a motion?
A motion, sorry. Motion.
Second.
Now, can I get a roll call?
Dr. Cordolino?
Do I abstain on the delegate?
No, you don't have to vote for yourself.
Okay, all right, I can vote for myself. Yes?
Mrs. Fano?
Yes.
Dr. Modrak?
Yes.
Mr. Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Petrosino?
Yes.
Mr. Rappaport?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Zuckerman?
Yes.
Mr. Daughtry?
Yes. Now we're going to committee reports. Let's start with finance. Dr. Cordolino?
What did I do with my papers? We discussed some items in finance that really Katine just went over now. Our financial position, finishing up some of our summer projects, and she went in finance. She went over the graph, which I agree with Michelle is very helpful. And really, she did most of the work.
Thank you. Michael, curriculum?
No report.
Christine, policy?
No report.
Michael, communications?
No report.
John, safety and security?
No report.
Dr. Corlino, School Board Association?
So this weekend, January 23rd, 24th, 25th, will be the new board member orientation. January 16th, we had an executive committee meeting, and January 30th is the board meeting, board of directors meeting.
Thank you. Michael, School Board, Morris County School Board Association?
The next meeting is February 4th at 6:30, and it's a virtual meeting.
Thank you. Ed Services, they had their meeting last week. They approved their rates of services for the year 26-27, and they also did their annual financial report for 2025. Caitlin, the Municipal Alliance?
They had their reorganization meeting and re-elected Larry Pasqua as chair for 2026. Grant funding had been cut again, leaving about $7,800 in available funds to be spent among the 5 categories. So they're going to look into additional fundraisers besides the graduation lawn signs, and discussed hosting a program in the spring with a local community speaker to discuss the dangers of substance abuse and self-harm. Their next meeting is February 11th.
Thank you so much. John, athletic boosters?
Meeting schedule for last week was postponed. A new date has not been set, but I will update the board when it is. Thank you.
Thanks. Christine, special ed.
So thank you. So for those that don't know, I'm the new delegate liaison to the Special Education Parents Advisory Group, otherwise known as CPAG. On February 14th, they will be having an update from the Special Services Department Administration and also doing a virtual evening called Screen Time, Social Media, and Student Wellbeing. And then on June 1st, they have planned an update from the Special Services Department Administration and also hosting a program, a virtual lunch and learn session, creating a calm and connected home.
Thank you. School liaison, Cedar Hill.
They had a meeting on the 13th. It was virtual. The only thing I wanted to mention to the board was they had a concern about our class size policy being eliminated and writing a new one. And I said I was not aware of anything happening like that. Although I did mention that if enrollment exceeds our facility availability, we may have to waive the policy. And they understood that.
Thank you. Hilldale.
Thank you. They had a meeting Thursday. It was a virtual meeting. Couple of the noteworthy things. The Michelle Sullivan charity basketball game is Saturday, April 18th. They need dads to sign up. This is going to be at all the elementaries. They're all participating. So dads are needed to sign up and join the fun and support the cause. They're also
Already
having
signed up.
You already signed up? Good for you, Joe. Okay. They're also having a Super Bowl game day food fundraiser at Franklin Steakhouse. You can order online at their PTC website, and 15% of all the profits go back to Hilldale. And you have to get those orders in by February 5th. So.
Thanks. Valley View.
They had a virtual meeting on the 15th where they honored their Teacher of the Year and Education Specialist of the Year. They're continuing with TREPS again and have over 50 4th and 5th graders signed up and are continuing to support the food pantry with another collection in February. Their next meeting is virtual on March 19th.
Thank you. William Mason.
No report.
Woodmont.
We were supposed to have had a remote meeting last Thursday. It was canceled last minute, and to my knowledge, it has not yet been rescheduled.
Thank you. Lazar.
Next meeting is February 9th.
High school.
Thank you. So Jenna did an outstanding job presenting. So much of what I was going to report on, she reported on. So that was my first time coming, and I really enjoyed. I emailed the principal. It was great to see all the different representatives from the different subjects. The administrators speak about what the kids were doing inside the classroom and also the clubs. They had a wonderful student community liaison that spoke. So it was really just wonderful. They talked about student recommendations and course requests. Now's the time. And of course, the 8th grade and incoming student orientation, and that is on Wednesday, February the 4th at 6:30 p.m. at the high school. Midterms, of course, makeups, share the keys on February 2nd. Chinese New Year showcase will be February 19th. The high school spring musical will be from March 5th through March 8th. The college fair will be March 6th. The next PTC meeting will be March 9th, and the Montville High School will be hosting SATs on March 14th. And also Mike was there, and that was great. And Caitlin was there as a mom, and she joked about that. 3 of us were there. That's it, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. We are now in the first part of public participation for those items on the agenda only. So if you would like to come up and speak, please come up now. Seeing none, we'll move now on to consent resolutions. Can I get a motion? Second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Going through section I on the minutes. Section J, administration.
Joe, just real quick. Section J1, the grant from the American Nuclear Society. I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Rolfe. Kudos to him for getting this grant. Again, they're going to use this grant to go to Penn State University to tour a cold nuclear energy reactor, as well as the Earth and Mineral Science Museum. The reactor does not generate power, but it is useful for scientific research. And I just have to say, this is yet another example of the outstanding efforts that our staff and administration go to, because these types of experiences are not common in high school. And so they are bringing a wealth of experience to our kids that a lot of other schools just don't have access to. So kudos to them, congratulations. I hope they have a great time.
Thank you. Section K, finance. Section L, personnel.
Yes, I just have two things to add there. For under retirements, we have Kim Stecker. She previously served in the curriculum office and left the district for a short while, returned into the business office and served as the payroll supervisor. She spends a lot of time, working on, the most important thing in the district, right? The payroll. But her attention to detail and her compassionate focus on each of the staff members has made her an invaluable asset to the district. She will be greatly missed, but we wish her well in her retirement. That's Kim. She'll be retiring, July 1st. And then I just have another addition in the job descriptions, L7. We just revised both assistant superintendent jobs to make them more reflective of what the both individuals do. And for the assistant superintendent of HR, there was a line missing under job goal. The last line will read, member of the superintendent's cabinet. That's it.
Thank you. Section M, curriculum. Section N, policy. Could I get a vote on the consent resolutions?
Dr. Modrak?
Yes.
Mr. Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Cordolino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fano?
Yes, abstain on minutes. I believe it's I. Thank you. Thank you. Closed.
Mr. Petrosino?
Yes.
Mr. Rappaport?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes, abstain on section I, meeting minutes from 12:16.
Mrs. Zuckerman? Mr. Daughtry?
Yes. Don't believe we have to go back into closed session. Section Q, old business. Section R, general board comments.
I just wanted to say one thing about my favorite subject. I had the opportunity to be at the Lazar 7th and 8th grade concert last week. It was phenomenal. And just to let everybody know about this, I think we have fewer than 600 7th and 8th graders at Lazar. I don't know the exact number, but if I recall correctly, there were, I believe, 130 in the band, 184, I think, in the chorus, and like 60 in the orchestra. So you're talking about, and I know there's some overlap, but way over half the kids in Lazar are in one of the three music groups, and it's actually kind of overwhelming. It's a pleasant problem to have, but I don't know of any district that has that kind of number. So my hat's off to the instructors over there and the faculty for promoting the arts, and it's just it's such a phenomenal number. It's almost freakish, but that again, that's a great problem to have. Thank you.
We have over 850 students at Lazar, so you're close.
Even though that's only 7th and 8th grade, though. What I was talking about.
Right, but still, but overall, right.
Right.
Correct. We have about 250 per grade, roughly.
Thanks, Mike. Last part is public participation for those. Any comments you want to make? Anyone want to come up? if I could get a motion for adjournment. Second. All in favor?
Yep.